Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. The Arsenal striker situation is an absolute mess right about now. We went into this window thinking that we have two options, Gyökeres or Benjamin Sesko, and we thought it would be easy to agree a deal for any of them. Both players want to join Arsenal, 100%, that is confirmed. Personal terms, not a problem. Gyökeres has agreed a 200k deal to Arsenal, 5 years until 2030. Everything is in place. He has rejected Manchester United. He has rejected, for Christ's sake, Juventus, and Juventus have gone and signed Jonathan David, but Arsenal have still failed to agree a price with Sporting. As well, with Benjamin Sesko, the player is open to joining Arsenal. They are very, very okay. Positive talks have been held with the players' camp since last summer. But Arsenal is saying, we don't want to pay the amount that RB Leipzig are actually asking for. And the window is progressing and time is going. Mikel Arteta is going into his preseason. He wants to work with his new centre forward. He wants to work with these new players as they are going to be very crucial to our most important campaign ever in the last maybe 20 years, maybe 25 years. You never know. So what is going on with the striker situation? And are Arsenal looking at other options? Yes, we have started looking at other options. And that is what tells you what is actually going on at the club. It feels like Arsenal have reached a bit of an impasse on both deals. They think they should be paying about 70 million euros for Benjamin Sesko, and Leipzig are saying we're not giving you our treasured talent for 70 million euros. Remember, Arsenal want to sign Benjamin Sesko as a player they view as one of the best to come, not as one of the best right now. So Arsenal are not saying we want to sign Benjamin Sesko to score for us 25 goals or 30 goals this season. They know he can't do that. They know he's not at that level. He needs a lot of polishing, but they have looked at his qualities and they said, for 70 million euros, we can buy these qualities and hope he's going to become one of the best strikers in the world someday. With Victor Gyökeres, Arsenal have got some reservations, on the price as well. First and foremost, Sporting are refusing to agree to honor their agreement with the player, which is 60 million euros. And Gyökeres is now saying, I don't want to train with the club. I am not going to play for you again. But Arsenal's point of view is a 27-year-old striker in Portugal can't cost more than 65 million euros, at best 70 million euros. So the idea is for Arsenal to splash about 70 million euros on a new centre forward, regardless of what comes out, regardless of what of what player we get. Arsenal's budget is about 70 million euros. And I don't want us to come out of this window without a centre forward. I don't want us to come out of this window without a striker. It will be bad. It will be devastating for me. It will be devastating for all of us. So Arsenal are now looking at other options. Let's discuss options that Arsenal could go for if these two little birds don't join Arsenal. Gyökeres and Sesko, let's say they are not happening. What are the other striker options Arsenal have in their list? And how good are these guys? Let's start off with Hugo Ekitike, the French international, 22 years of age, 22, 21 years of age at entering Frankfurt. Hugo Ekitike is in the German Bundesliga, and he outscored Benjamin Sesko. Arsenal have considered Hugo Ekitike before, but I have a feeling that the reason as to why Arsenal really didn't go for Ekitike concretely is because of the price. Now, Frankfurt are saying, if you want to take our player, well and good, we are willing to sell, but you've got to clock the 90 million mark, right? And at least the 80 million mark. And Arsenal comfortably said, okay, see you later. We are not paying 90 million euros for a striker this summer. But according to Bild, Arsenal are now starting to reassess their situation regarding Hugo Ekitike. They're looking at him and they're like, if we had to pay above 70 million euros, if we had to sign a centre forward for a very big fee, it would be Hugo Ekitike. And what this tells me is simple. Arsenal believe in Sesko. Arsenal know that Sesko is good. But right now, they don't believe in the valuation of Benjamin Sesko. They would rather go for a striker that is of the same age, very, very similar qualities to Benjamin Sesko and is closer to Alexander Isak than Sesko is. Now, the advantage with Benjamin Sesko is that he's got this build and physique that Mikel Arteta likes, and it's also is one of those players that are very, very good in the air, and Mikel Arteta likes that as part of the game. But in my opinion, Hugo Ekitike is worth 85 million euros. Okay, like not because of anything, but I think strikers are going to be expensive now. Strikers are going to be expensive. If Arsenal can agree a deal for Hugo Ekitike, 85 million euros, go and do the deal. It would be a very, very good deal. This one that comes with a lot of competition. We're hearing United, Chelsea, Liverpool. Liverpool, after selling Darwin Núñez, right? If they sell Darwin Núñez successfully, they want to move for Hugo Ekitike. Chelsea, even after signing Delap and João Pedro, could move for Hugo Ekitike. And Manchester United, obviously, they want to send forward, but they have some work to do. They also are looking at Hugo Ekitike. Now, Ekitike is not world beaters, okay? And he's not Isak levels, he's not Lewandowski levels, he's not at that level. But if you're Arsenal and you're seriously looking to pay good money for a striker, I would pay 85 million euros for Hugo Ekitike and not anything like 70 million euros or 75 million euros for Benjamin Sesko. Ekitike, for me, has a higher ceiling and has proven that he can provide the numbers right about now. His combination with Omar Marmoush can give us an insight of what it could be when you pair a player like Hugo Ekitike and Saka and Martinelli. He might unlock the players around him. But why I like Hugo Ekitike and why I think it would be a good signing, you're not signing a player purely based on his future. You're based on the present because he's had a very, very good campaign in German. And also, he's played at PSG. And then you're also playing for the future. He's young. He's got a very big ceiling. And his link-up play, oh my God. Right? In the German Bundesliga, they call him Europe's most elegant striker. And the reason for that is, bro, his link-up play, have you seen it? Right? He's mad. He's one of, he reminds me of Dimitar Berbatov. He plays the game at his own pace, right? I don't want to say much about Hugo Ekitike. You might say, oh, Cossy, now you're changing. I like Victor Gyökeres, you know that. But if Arsenal are not going to get him, Ekitike is definitely a very good option. Now, Arsenal have apparently telephoned Oli Watkins. Now, this is a deal that I was happy to do in January, if you still remember. And you might ask, Cossy, what has changed? Why don't you like Watkins anymore? The reason as to why I don't like Watkins anymore is it would be a panic buy that is an excuse. Watkins would guarantee that Arsenal use Kai Havertz anytime they want. And Mikel Arteta would have an excuse that Watkins is just a backup player and therefore he's there to provide cover for Kai Havertz. And Kai Havertz would be our starting, main man at center forward for a very long time. I don't want that. I don't want. So why I really think that Watkins should be a deal that Arsenal stay away from. He's 29. Okay, maybe there is a bit of longevity, but he's 29. You're looking for a striker that can propel this Arsenal team into the next 5 years, 6 years, right? That's why I'm okay with Ekitike, but I'm not okay with Watkins. And the pricing as well. Like, Villa, and looking at his numbers, Villa are not going to get 30 million. They're not going to accept 30 million euros, right? Or 35 million euros. So they're going to be looking at 45 million euros and above. Why would you pay 45 million euros for Oli Watkins and you can't, who is 29, clocking 30, and you can't pay 60 million euros or 70 million euros for Victor Gyökeres, who's going to be here for 5 years, potentially 6 years. So for me, Watkins is an option. Premier League proven, obviously. He bangs in the goals. Now, I want to say this very, very quietly. It's not that I wouldn't take Watkins if no one was coming in. If Arsenal reached that point where no one is coming in, definitely I would take Watkins. Because, guys, I don't want another summer without a center forward. Marcus Thuram at Inter Milan is another option Arsenal should look at, definitely. He would cost upwards of 70 million euros because he's one of the young strikers in Europe that have gathered a lot of experience in the last 3 years, especially signing for Inter, winning silverware, and challenging for the big titles in Italy and Europe as well. Marcus Thuram, I have my own doubts about Marcus Thuram. I kind of feel like Marcus Thuram, like he's a parasite. Okay, it's not a parasite. That's a very very bad word that I've used there. There is some symbiosis, symbiosis between Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram, and what they mean is that I think he thrives better around Lautaro Martinez. I think we have seen the best version of this guy around Lautaro Martinez. When he's with Lautaro, he's cooking. And when he's without Lautaro, I am not very convinced about his qualities. And he would be very expensive. But he's another option we could look at. Julian Alvarez. We have been told that Arsenal dared to slap their dick on the table for Julian Alvarez. Now, if Arsenal are willing to pay big money for a player that is really worth big money, that is the guy I would go for. That is, I would go to the bank and rob a vault, empty all our savings, sell the Emirates Stadium, and get this guy, Julian Alvarez. Actually, Charlie Daniel Henry was talking about which strikers Arsenal should be looking at. And he was like, listen, guys, listen, Julian Alvarez, look there. And I'm telling you, Henry is one of the best in the game at center forward play. He understands forwards. And even if he didn't, I look at Julian Alvarez like a Kun Aguero. The guy is clinical. His movement is elite. He moved away from Manchester City as a backup striker for 90, 100 million euros. How many times does a backup striker cost 80 million euros, right? If they're not going to Saudi Arabia like John Duran. How many times, right? So for me, Alvarez is definitely a player that Arsenal should look into. No questions asked, no doubt about that. Go and get that deal done if it's possible. If they can agree a £100 million deal, I don't even care about Rodrigo. I don't even care about Madueke at this moment. Like, if you can get me Alvarez, it's okay. I can keep Martinelli, and I can keep Saka and Wanyeri, and we shall be all right. Then that takes me to Jean Duran. Obviously, Jean Duran is in talks with Fenerbahce to sign for them from Saudi Arabia. But John Duran is another option Arsenal could look at. There is a bit of bad blood between him and his club, and therefore a deal can be agreed for a very, very small fee. I think if you cannot, this is my opinion, if you cannot get the cheaper strikers and you don't want to pay big money for them, then John Duran is one of the best options on the market that you can actually go for. If a player is in a bad situation with his parent club, you obviously can give them a fee that is not very, very expensive. Then we've got Alexander Isak. I doubt this one would happen, but this one would require Arsenal to undo the plans and replan again. Obviously, it's 150 million euros, as much as we're hearing. Now, after Florian Wirtz signing for 150 million euros to Liverpool from Bayer Leverkusen, Newcastle would feel that a forward that has a lot of minutes under his belt is gonna be more expensive than is going to be more expensive than Florian Wirtz, because Wirtz doesn't have Premier League experience. He's just one of those strikers that, one of those forwards that are really talented, but Isak could be considered a much better player. So Isak, 150 million euros. It's unlikely to happen, right? It's really, really unlikely to happen. It's optimistic, but very, very unlikely to happen. Then the other option, we have heard that Arsenal have looked at Nicholas Jackson. I don't know why we have looked at Nicholas Jackson, but there is talk that Arsenal have looked at Nicholas Jackson. Now, I dare you, Arsenal, I dare you, go sign this flop of a Pogba clone. Nicholas Jackson was signed of 8 good games by Chelsea. The guy had 8 good games. I think it was like at Villarreal, 8 good games towards the back end of the campaign. I think he scored like 13 goals in 8 games. And Chelsea signed him. And that is the day I knew you never scout your players based on Chelsea data, because they are absolute idiots. So Arsenal, please, do not embarrass us. Nicholas Jackson, thank you. No. Jonathan David is a free agent who has agreed a deal with Juventus, but it is not yet done yet. It's not done yet. He's not signed his contract. Arsenal could look in that direction. Obviously, David is not the higher caliber striker. He's not one of those strikers that are going to get you 30 goals in a season, but he's better than Kai, and he's better than nothing. And then Alexander Soloth. I like Alexander Soloth. Is Soloth is a striker that you guys wouldn't love, right? But I love Alexander Soloth. I think he's one of the strikers that are a bit slow, but his build, he's Norwegian. I don't know if you've seen him, for Norway with Erling Haaland. His build is that of Erling Haaland, like that kind of, giant striker that doesn't move at a very, very terrific pace. But what I like about Soloth, he's always in the right place at the right time. I don't know how that guy does it, but his IQ of reading maybe because he trains with Haaland at times, maybe he's a countryman to Haaland, and these guys talk about things. The guy is always in the right place at the right time. And my problem with him is that he's gone to Atletico and there is Julian Alvarez. So is there a chance that Arsenal could look into it and okay, there is Alvarez at Atletico Madrid. Why don't we go and get Alexander Soloth out of there? It would be a very good deal. Obviously, the others you could talk about is Marcus Rashford. Stay out from my club. Thank you so much. Brian Mbeumo. Mbeumo wants to play for Manchester United only. But if Mbeumo didn't want to play for Manchester United only, definitely that would be a deal I'll be looking into. So talk to me about Darwin Núñez, right? Talk to me about Darwin Núñez, because is Darwin Núñez a player you would look at? I don't know. I want your thoughts. I'm not even suggesting Darwin Núñez, but is he a player you would look at? We're hearing that Liverpool are asking for 70 million euros. For what? Why? I mean, Liverpool are just good sellers. That's the truth. Liverpool are just very good at selling. But for me, 70 million euros for Darwin Núñez? To hell with that.